Just sum up what you're seeing right now as the moment in AI. What is it that is before us?
Yeah, when we started Calibrate first in 2017, we believed that there was a large economic unlock that was going to occur similar to what happened in SaaS in the early 2000s. And now we're seeing that. The ability for companies to build quickly on top of these large language models, as well as think about the middle layer to actually take and implement these actions into realities in the real world, is what's exciting to us at Calibrate.
The chronology or the timeline here for me is so interesting. You started or launched your fund in December 2021. I don't know how much of the capital you've committed yet, but really this took off in November of 2022, right? And I just wonder how you feel about how much OpenAI has dominated the headlines, because you know the names you're looking at have nothing to do with OpenAI at this moment in time.
All of our companies are looking at how to use generative AI. Some have looked at using OpenAI, others are looking at using other types of models or actually implementing other own models into that. But the timing and the press that's received about OpenAI, I think, is actually great. It highlights the opportunity that's out there. And even some of the things you're seeing, even some of the potentially negative things you're seeing around OpenAI in the chat, I think also highlight where we are in a cycle, right? We're at the very early cycle of this. And there needs to be a lot of moderation, content filtering, and honing of these models to actually understand and take them into full enterprise applications.
We were discussing the potential for cloud and enterprise out of generative AI, but the consumer-facing excitement is about search. And we will ask our own audience, are the developments in AI enough to you, the consumer, to jump from Google to another search engine? These are the results. We'll bring them up for you. I don't know how surprising this is, Kevin. C, 44% of respondents saying it's too early to tell. 24% of respondents saying, yes, Bing is now more exciting. Is that really true? Is this a game changer in the search engine competition?
I think it's a game changer in Bing's ability to capture market share. And if I was joking about this the other day, you know, if you'd asked me a year ago, what are the chances that I would download Bing? They were probably zero. But I actually downloaded it and I let it keep its notifications on simply so I know when I'd be able to get full access to it. So I think it is a game changer for Microsoft and their ability to actually capture market share around search.
So I go back to my last question about OpenAI. Should we be thanking OpenAI for what they've done to give momentum around generative AI?
I think we should be. I think that what it's doing is it's opening up opportunities. It's allowing startups to be more cost effective in how they deploy solutions, to actually get products to market sooner and allow scale faster. So I think the attention that's been brought on by OpenAI is actually a positive. But with every early product launch, there's always a balance of the perfect product versus speed to market and first mover. And I think we've seen a little bit of that here. But the honing that's going to be happening, the ability to actually customize that they just had an announcement on last night, I think those will do wonders for the product and the offering and the way that people interact with it.
You've been doing this since 2017, a $97 million fund at the end of 2021. How are you valuing your portfolio companies? There's a lot of froth in the public markets. And of course, looking to public peers is one way of benchmarking your private portfolio, right? But 800% gains for Big Bear AI, more than 100% year to date for C3 AI, must be a nightmare.
Yeah, the benefit of being an early stage venture investor is that we have a very long-term horizon. And that although we've seen a rise in the seed and Series A prices for companies, that's starting to come off a little bit, and we're seeing a little bit more of a return to normal. I think the hardest place to play right now is in the later stage financing of these pre-IPO companies. I think that's where I'd be the most cautious as an investor, because that's where it's a hard time actually understanding what the public markets will ultimately evaluate these at in the future.
At the earlier stage of the curve, are you having to write bigger checks? I guess there's a proxy for it being more competitive to get into promising companies in artificial intelligence.
I think the round sizes have increased somewhat. I think it's buying companies more runway to actually execute on their offerings and their platforms. We've been fortunate; we've been doing this a long time, and so our expertise and the cross product pollination between our companies has been a nice benefit for us to lead and win deals even when they're oversubscribed.
Kevin, what is your personal relationship like with artificial intelligence? Bear with me on that one. But, you know, you're an investor in the space. I'm trying to get in on the ChatGPT waitlist, right? I want to understand better how it works. Do you sit at your desk every day and communicate with AI and all the different APIs and tools that are available to you?
In general, I think we're interacting with AI in lots of ways without even knowing it. Right? We've got robotics companies that use AI to decide what motions to take in the real world. We're being delivered ads in our web searches, probably using some forms of generative AI now without us knowing. I love playing with GPT chat and asking it questions and seeing how it responds. But I also take every response that I get with a grain of salt. Right? I know this is an large language model. I know that the answers we're getting need to be verified and need to be understood in the appropriate way. And so I think people also need to take that same approach and understand that this is the very beginning, and you also need to verify the information you're getting.
You took us there, so let's stick with it. There's discussions so quickly around ethics, accuracy, false information, inaccuracies. What is the biggest risk to this sector right now facing artificial intelligence?
It's a good question. I think the biggest risk facing artificial intelligence right now is a backlash that sets it back from adoptance. And what we're seeing now is companies are moving quickly to add in these moderation algorithms and better understand what is being delivered to a customer. To get to full enterprise level, it's going to take a couple of years. If you're using generative AI to generate images, you're still at a factor where you're generating 40 images and 2 or 3 maybe something you could use to train a gripper or something along that. Like we have a company called Soft Robotics that delivers human hand-like dexterity to robotic arms. They use generative AI in some of their images to train the system, but it's still not at a scale yet where you can actually just create a bunch of industrial images and be happy with the results. They still need to be filtered. And so I think the adoption cycle is the biggest risk. And as we've seen with all technology, as a society, we figure out ways to work with it.